Executive Director for Park Coca-Cola. Can you hear me in the bleachers over there?
Yes, I can.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. This has been a pretty busy week at Park Coca-Cola, a busy season even with the virus. Just this last week we had a wine tasting on the veranda, we had croquet, we had a chamber mixer, and we have this. And tonight Jackie Morrow wins because she attended every single one of them. So thank you again. We're really excited to have you here and really to host the second public reading of the letters between Lizzie Hall Park and John McCullough. The first having a reading was in 2013, and I couldn't make it to that one for whatever reason, and I can't really remember why. And when I became the director, that was on my list to beg Randallin and Alan to come back and do it again, and I'm glad to present this. So after Randallin went through the letters, and there's piles of them, hundreds of letters, and she went through them and edited them down. So this is what we're showing tonight. This is also an event that we are able to bring to the members, which is really important to us. So thank you. Give yourselves a round of applause for supporting the house. Thank you enough. Thank you. This performance is by Living Room Theater founders and co-artistic directors Randallin Zinn and Alan McCullough. And they hope by next year we can meet again in the Carriage Barn for another superb performance. But until then, this is pretty exclusive because with theater not being a thing right now, it happens to be a thing here at Park McCullough. So with that said, I'd like to introduce Alan McCullough and Randallin Zinn.
Is this on? It is.
Oh, good.
Good evening. Nice to see you all. Before we begin, on a personal note, I just want you to know that 33 years ago, this coming Monday, this amazing, incredible, and talented woman and I were married in New York on an extraordinarily hot day. I can't speak for Randallin, but I can tell you that it was clearly the smartest and best thing that I ever did. And so if you would you please raise your glass with me and wish her a very happy anniversary.
This was not rehearsed. Aww.
Yeah. This is a story about love.
A love that crossed America from San Francisco to North Bennington.
A story about right here, this place.
The main characters include
Trenor Park, a self-made man who built this house,
he made 7 fortunes,
but lost 6.
so he understandably suffered from mental exhaustion.
And the two main principal players are his daughter, Lizzie,
And Trenor's law partner in San Francisco, John G. McCullough.
who is not my father John, but his grandfather John, my great-grandfather.
John met Lizzie when she was a little girl in San Francisco, and then again when she was 20.
When she just conquered me.
This is a story about the persuasive power of the written word.
And a courtship conducted almost entirely by letter. The St. Nicholas Hotel, June 21, 1869. My dear, dear Miss Lizzie, I would give all this world to be back in North Bennington. Miss Lizzie, I sometimes think this life is not worth living for, that its sorrows and partings more than counterbalance its joys and greetings. But you, good, true, pure, innocent soul, will say, that is wicked. And it is, and I know it. I wish you and your mother had come into New York, as sitting beside you and touching your dress, I was perfectly happy. Will you please send me one of those 4-leaf clovers? And now, good night, you good girl.
2 weeks later, in North Bennington, my dear friend, a Friday evening, a letter and a second roll of piano songs came from you. You ask which songs I like best. I've had so little time to try them that I can hardly tell. Of those I have tried, I think I like Forget Me Not. I must say, there's little subject for letter writing in this small place, and as I said before, I can't romance. So we'll close before I weary you. Oh, the bell's rung for lunch. I must go. Goodbye, Lizzie H. Park.
2 weeks later, San Francisco, July 17, 1869. My dear Miss Lizzie, it is to me very pleasant to talk to you on paper. It's just 1 week ago tonight since I arrived here in San Francisco. As one has beautifully said, a week by my counting and a year by my heart. On this Sabbath morning, there is but one thing I would rather be doing than writing this, and that is going to church at North Bennington with you, even to hear old brother, what's his name, preach about riches.
July 17th.
A letter to Lizzie's father, the same day. My dear Mr. Park, I am back just a week yesterday and intended to write you sooner, but as I was a guest at your house and it was due to you that I should frankly say that while there I became sincerely attached to your daughter, and she knows it. Whatever her New England home and parents and influences may have done, nature has done more. I don't mean any personal beauty, though that she has. It is her chiefest jewel. But her unostentatious, easy grace of movement, her kindly manner of speech and action to all around her, the sweet amiability of her temper, the winning traits of her head and heart, her almost dangerously delicate sensitiveness, her Christian trust, and above all, the sublime simplicity of her character, and still more, her seemingly total unconsciousness of it all, just conquered me. Paris or Fifth Avenue and all the tinsel of position and wealth can't ruin her. Of me you can or do know all, my outer and inner life, my position, character, and ability, my present and future prospects, and be assured, my dear sir, of one thing, that were I ever the fortunate man, no wind should blow harshly upon her, and no act of loving kindness should ever be wanting. This is my first and last letter of this kind, and I am glad it is over. And as it was simply to advise you of a fact very near to me, I don't know that it needs any answer. I am very truly your friend, J.G. McCullough.
3 weeks later, St. Nicholas Hotel, New York. My dear friend, I've seated myself on a big trunk so as to be near the gas with a book to write on, and I'm going to have a little chat with you before going to bed. Now, I want to come to a little understanding with you, young man. You say I might go to Paris or anywhere else and always come back Miss Lizzie Park? That is the unkindest thing you've ever said to me. I know all my friends at home here say I will be an old maid and make all manner of fun of me, but to think that you, who's so far away and ought to say pleasant things to me, should join right in with the others? Haven't I been trying all my life to get married? Didn't I go down to New Haven right in among the Yale students with the hope of having some success? All that Ned Phelps introduced to me were engaged, so I decided I didn't want any of them. You will think me very silly writing all this nonsense, but never mind. Oh, on Friday, Mama and I went out most of the day having my pictures taken. And I'll send you one, hoping you'll like it. Papa seems so much better and is getting to look more natural. Mr. Kensett, the artist, said that he thought that, quote, Miss Park had the most artistic eyes of any lady he knew. What do you think of that? It set me up so that I don't think I shall have anything to do with my old friends, but shall hereafter associate only with those who are cultured in art. Mama sends love to you, Lizzie.
2 weeks later. My dear, dear Miss Lizzie, I got your letter this morning, and what is better, your sweet picture. I say picture, but confound the mail, it has bent and disfigured it a little. Yet it is first rate. The expression is natural and brings to mind the winning and witching original. The good, quiet, easy, graceful, and almost irresistible Miss Lizzie sits before me in imagination. But what I like still better is that you sent it, and be assured I shall cherish it very dearly. And so you think you will in future only associate with those cultivated in art? Where will I be then? Why thus will you desert those once your associates who can never hope to reach the lofty pitch to which you are fast tending? From that acme you will doubtless look down in pity upon us croquet players. What a taunting little picture you send me back about your going to Paris and coming back, Miss Lizzie Park. You may laugh as you will, but to me, whatever change may come over the spirit of your life's dream or name, to me you will always be Miss Lizzie Park of June '69. I wish we could be together for a little while today, say you. From the bottom of my heart I echo the sentiment. Not for a little while, but may I add, forever?
10 days later. My dear friend, I am afraid I spend more time sitting here with my pen in hand looking out the window thinking instead of writing. I don't think it's my nature to talk much of my feelings. People to know me must wait for a longer acquaintance, but I want you to know me, just as I know myself. But I fear you would then have a very different opinion of me. It seems rather discouraging work getting acquainted when we're so far apart, and what's more, I'm spoiling my personal appearance and that won't do. Tears, as a general thing, are not conducive to beauty. 8 days later. My dear friend, Mama wrote you about going to Europe. The doctors have all told Papa that he must get away from business to go there. I used to want to go more than anywhere else in the world, but now I can't bear to think of it. Vermont is far enough away from California without going any further. No one knows when the railroad business can be closed up, but Papa says as soon as he can leave it, she shall go. It may be this winter or not till spring. I've so hoped he would want to go to San Francisco, but he doesn't have the least desire to do so, and now I must, like a good girl, be satisfied and say nothing, for we must want to do what's best for his health, and it's wrong and selfish to think of my own pleasure for a moment where Papa's health is concerned. Truly yours, Lizzie.
4 days later, September 9, 1869. My dear, dear Lizzie, you dear, good, sweet girl, I just simply worship you. I fear you were just a little sad when writing a part of your last letter. I suppose it is hard for you to get acquainted with me at this long distance. Rest assured, every word you utter is precious to me. When you speak of tears, that just completely conquers me. Indeed, you must not. All yet will be well. Were the tears that filled your eyes those of pity or joy or sorrow, I would delight to sit down by your side to talk if you wish to, or if not, just to be there and touch your dress. All I can say is that I am always the same foolish, good-for-nothing fellow you saw. I only wish you to know me fully, to satisfy yourself in your own good time, yea or nay, yea if you can, nay if you must. Of my inner life, my connections, my associations, my business relations, my incomings and outgoings here, my public, my private life, my everyday surroundings and all doings here, no, I wish it were easier that you may not tire out in the effort. Can I do or say anything to assist you? Command me. But you are all a way off, and if you do go to Europe, I wonder if you will forget the writer. Well, such is life. It is very hard. About your father's health. Your mother and you must absolutely take Mr. Park away. In my opinion, he must go and stay away for some time. Don't misinterpret these last words. They cost me more than you think. To think of your going away across the ocean is very sad to me. You must laugh more and eat more. Indeed, I know you have grown very tall within a few months. Beat your father at whist, but every day go up into that grove, play croquet, breathe the air by the big lungs full. Indeed, you must not shed many tears. Everything is bright and happy for you. My affection for you grows as the days increase in numbers, and it is the one dream of my life. I am devotedly yours.
September, North Bennington. My dear friend, Monday morning we went from Manchester to Dorset, a ride of 6 miles on our picnic, and took the 5 o'clock train home. The more I see the smallest picture you sent, the better it seems to me. I think, though, I shall not change the one I have of you in my watch, for I've carried it so long, though I do like the new one best. You would laugh to see how careful I am that no one sees my watch for a moment. I never forget to wear it or to wind it, which I used to do. I can imagine the astonishment of some of my friends if they could open it for a moment. September 22nd. My dear friend, a few months ago, I would not have dreamed that I could ever write to you as I have. I do not mean you alone, but to any man. Never in my life have I led any gentleman by any word to think I cared for him more than for any other friend. But with you it's different. I'm willing you should know every thought I have, but it's hard for me to tell you all, and much harder to write. I've now made up my mind to talk to you as freely as I think. And if you ever think me in any way unmaidenly, just tell me. I've always thought if ever I had occasion to write love letters, they would in every respect be very dignified and perfect. But some way I've changed my mind. And I'm going to think on paper. And only one shall have the benefit of those thoughts, foolish as they are sure to be. My mother is the only one with whom I talk freely, but now I would talk with you as with her. You have my entire confidence, and you know it. How strange to see this on paper and to think that I wrote it, when until now it has only been in my head. You will write soon, won't you? The time is so much shorter when I hear from you. Last week was so short that I sent you some little leaves, but they are very much faded. Believe that I am and will always be your loving Lizzie.
One day later, September 23rd, 1869, San Francisco. My dear, dear, dear Miss Lizzie, I just got your Manchester letter. It carries the most thrilling message you ever wrote me. Oh, I pray it is true that the darling creature in black and blue is to be here. Oh, Miss Lizzie, don't fail to come. My whole soul is mopped up in it. Now it is settled you are coming out, and on the 1st of October, glory, hallelujah. The band outside is just playing away. We'll all feel gay when Johnny comes marching home, and it makes my blood dance. I feel gay as Lizzie comes marching over. Bring me some autumn leaves. How I should be ineffably happy to roam the autumn woods with my Lizzie. Goodbye, and believe me, ever and only, your John. 1 week later, October 1st, 9:30 p.m. My own darling girl, it is so sweet to hear you say, her heart is his alone. I live for you, all mine, all thine. It is a new and strange life to me. Don't apologize for your letters, for mine are honestly horrible. I don't see how you read them. I never see a fault in yours. And I want you to talk about your own dear self all the time, how you live and where you go and what you do and what you think and whom you think of. From you I have no secrets. I wonder if my darling Lizzie couldn't call me John?
In my little room, 11 p.m., October 1st, 1869. I've been sitting for a few moments with my pen over my paper, wondering how to commence. It's always been my dear friend, but now I feel you are even nearer than that, but never mind. I'll go on with my letters. I've only a moment to write. Aunt Martha asked me if I hadn't a new ring, pointing to yours, and said she'd never noticed before. I presume she didn't quite understand. So far, I've never taken it off. Last Sunday, Grandma gave me the letters she and Grandpa wrote before they were married more than 50 years ago. Grandpa wrote a beautiful hand, and it seemed so strange to look at them over yellow with age and torn. It seems so strange that you will soon hold this letter of mine. So, your friend Miss Hastings is married? I don't like to go to weddings, and I never do it, if I can avoid it. They are too serious. You must write me all about it, though, and tell me if the bride looked pretty. It's late, and my eyes are not in the best of trim. Good night, and write soon and often to your loving girl.
5 days later. I am so very sorry that you are not coming. I think I could now tell you better how completely, how unreservedly, how unselfishly I love you. But I suppose it is not to be. Well, this is a foolish letter. I have no one to talk to.
Home, October 9th. Dear John, there it stands. And even if it has been in my head and thoughts 1,000 times, on paper it seems so different. I never heard you called John except by Papa, so it hardly seems as if it is you, but I'll get used to it. And it's always been the sweetest name to me, a good, true name, like yourself, and I'm glad it is yours. Sunday, 12 p.m. Now it's tomorrow, and I'm home from church. I do wish that you could forget that I ever wrote to you that we might be coming to San Francisco, for now it's doubtful when we go, if at all, and you're expecting us all the time. We must wait for Papa's pleasure. He's much better, but still very weak and doesn't have any desire to go out of the house.
A letter to Mrs. Trenner Park, 4 days later, October 13, 1869. You ask when I can come on that side to live. Mrs. Park, I cannot say. It may be in 5 years. It would be unjust to myself and others, and unjust to her were she to be more to me than she is, to break up now, at my age, my practice here. I am in full practice, and am entirely too young to stop now. No one knows better than Mr. Park how suicidal it would be. I am not anxious to be rich, but I must have a competence which nowadays means more than it used to, as you are aware. About waiting, my word is my bond. I do think that winters on this side would be a great benefit to her health. With Vermont summers and our winters, I think her health would be fully established and she very strong. Mrs. Park, I do wish from the bottom of my heart that Mr. Park would come out. Your friend, J.G. McCullough.
After staying downstairs with the old people, I've come upstairs to finish this note. When I look back and think of all that has taken place, that little visit here, so short, that has brought such a change to me, it all seems so strange and like a dream. And if it were not for your letters, I think I might sometime to be tempted to look on it as such. I can't bear not to see you. You need never doubt me or think I should change.
October 24. So, my own sweet girl thinks of me very often and is not afraid. Is that so, Lizzie? I am 6 feet and you are only 5.5. I am a great coarse man and you a mimosa sensitiva. And yet you boldly say you don't fear me? Well, my brave girl, in your presence I am timid and you could easily conquer me. In fact, you have already taken me captive and your lightest command is my law.
4 days later. Dear John, you know, I'm beginning to think that this separation, which has been so hard and still is doing me a bit of good in one respect. If we had been together all the time, I would be more with you, as I am and always have been with others, and I should never have had the courage to tell you all these foolish things to your face. I'm pretty sure, could I see you now, I could talk to you more freely than to anyone else in the world. I'm certain that you will find much in me to disappoint, but I want you to see me just as I really am. I'm yours, dear John. Lizzie Hall Park.
2 weeks later. My Lizzie, darling. You wonder if when we do meet I will not be disappointed in you. You know that my whole soul is centered in you, just as you are. I was no boy in age or experience or observation. It was no mere boy's dream. I had met hundreds of ladies in all classes and positions of life. I had long an indistinct ideal in my own brain, and when I saw you, your whole character, bearing, and manner completely conquered me. My wish was that by my next birthday, my Lizzie might learn to love me as truly, as purely, as deeply, as nearly, and as dearly as I love her. How I wish I could put the ring on, how I wish I could put on the ring that should be the outward symbol of our linked destinies. But my idol, I cannot reach 3,000 miles with my hand. It is only my heart that can and does span a continent. Today, my darling is 21 and is 5.5 feet high. If you keep on, you will be as old and as tall as I am.
November 27th, 10 days later. Thursday night I got your letter written on my birthday, and I'd already begun to guess your wish. If wishing on a ring, it is said that if the ring is not taken off nor comes off, the wish shall come to pass. My answer is, the ring is still where you placed it on the hand I am writing with and has been there since the 20th of June.
10 days later. It makes me so happy to learn the answer to my wish.
Christmas Eve. Did you ever hear of a place not big enough to swing a cat in? My little room is just such a place, but tomorrow morning I shall finish dressing the last doll for the girls of my Sunday school class, and then I can have a little room to move in. I was reading your last letter in the library when Grandma came and sat down, and I read it aloud to her, and her eyes filled with tears, and she said, Give him lots of love from me.
Christmas, 4 p.m. My pretty cherry, my blooming moss rose, my darling girl, my priceless jewel, my precious treasure, my guiding genius, my guardian angel, my sweet darling, my life and my love, and more than all and better than all, my own Lizzie, a merry, merry Christmas to you.
January 2nd. What shall I say, or where commence? Yesterday was New Year's Day. I had a cold, but I was trying to be agreeable. When Mama called me to come into the library, I expected a letter, but she handed me instead a package. Of course, I had no idea what it contained, but it wasn't long in getting the paper off and the box opened, and there it was. It's beautiful, elegant, and from John. You chose it, and had it been a very simple gift, instead of what it is, it would still have been John's Merry Christmas. I can't look at it without saying it's John's ring. The color of the emerald is so beautiful, it's very precious to me. I put it on and said to Papa, "Don't you think we ought to go out to San Francisco, maybe?" Then, like a little goose, I just put my head down and started crying. I don't think it was in the least bit smart, but I couldn't help it. And he said, there, we'll see. We'll send for him. Now don't get excited, old boy, for I don't want you to expect us as you did before.
January 1st, 1870. My own darling, Happy New Year. 1869 is now my favorite of all the years, for it brought me the trusting heart of Lizzie. It lit up my future with the presence of the being who is to walk through life with me, the dear partner of my joys and sorrows. It crowned my life with a new and better life.
January 4th, 1870. John, old boy, you are foolish about me. Just wait, and I will show you all the bad there is in me. When I showed your picture to Grandma Park, she took me alone and asked all sorts of questions about you. She's very particular old lady and notional, so I tried to ease her mind, even if I did praise you more than you deserve. She'll want to have a long talk with you on the subject of religion. To her, a Christian must have a hard life and look always upon the dark and unhappy side of life, while I know that if a person truly loves God, that should make them happier and better. My life has been a continuation of blessings, and everything that love or money could get my mother and father have given me, and what I have no right to expect, God has given me. You say that I'm getting vain, and you're afraid you're spoiling me, but haven't I warned you against that all along? I may be an angel to you, silly fellow, but I am a dreadfully earthy one. Open that watch of yours, and you can't say that that face has much of the angelic about it. Who ever heard of an angel with a diamond and emerald ring on her finger? You must control your imagination, my friend, or it will place Lizzie so high up that when you really see her, the fall may hurt her. I'm truly getting quite an admiration for this perfect girl you talk so much about, and only wish I might know her sometime.
10 days later, January 14, 1870. You dear little wild cherry. You are so delighted with the emerald that it makes me happy I sent it. Now don't you go swap off my wish ring off for your emerald. Let me see your finger with the Irish green guarded by two others. One ring to keep it from getting off your finger, the other to keep it from slipping up over your wrist. Lizzie, that scene in the library with your father touches me very nearly. I will come over any time, my sweet angel, in the coming spring or summer, or any other spring or summer. I ask my confiding girl to speak her whole heart to me. What is her wish? I don't want to press if it is not now proper, but then I might know if I should write to your father or how to prepare my business.
2 weeks later, I got a little downhearted as it all looked so dark. John, I don't know how to answer your letter. One thing I feel certain of for the good of us both, we should see more of each other. I feel certain of your love for me and of mine for you, but you mustn't forget we've never been together but a day or two over a week. When we shall meet, I can't tell. I haven't the least reason in the world to think we'll go to San Francisco this winter. I don't know what to say. You know as well as I do that I want to see you, and the sooner the time comes, the sooner I shall be happy. Johnny came in this evening looking handsome, as you please. But then, he's too young for me. What do I care for boys of his age? I don't think much of a man till he is something over 30. Excuse the question, but how old are you?
3 months later, April 25. Darling, I shall come to you very soon. Go straight to North Bennington so you may look for me 7 or 8 days after my departure from here. Don't let us have parties or excursions unless you wish it, for my time will be so short that I can't bear to lose much of it from you. Western Union Telegram, 3 weeks later, New York, May 12, 1870, to Mrs. Trenner Park. I go up tomorrow, 8:30, by Harlem Road. John G. McCullough. John arrives for an extended visit here and then leaves.
June 1st, 2 a.m. It seems long days since you gave me goodbye. I'm alone in the library. As soon as you went downstairs, I went into one of the front rooms to watch the carriage out of sight, and then into my little room, shut the door, opened the window, and waited for the train to start. I was very good, scarcely cried, and while I was waiting for the train cars to pass, Mama asked me, when do you expect your first letter? I hardly know, I said. He said he might write a few words between here and Troy, but now Papa has gone with him and I don't know when he'll have a chance today. She quietly put in my hand your note, written this morning. John's note.
My room, 6:15 a.m. Still more my darling than ever before. I am now engaged in the romantic operation of waiting for my boots, and hence my first letter. Now, my darling, you must be a good, happy girl, or some others you know will also be miserable. I slept some from 2 to 5, and I want to learn soon that my darling did also. And then always I wish to hear that she sleeps soundly and sweetly until the day she puts John asleep. And after that, she can tell me with her own lips how she rested. But goodbye, darling. It is almost time for the second bell. I am in the parlor now, and Bertie and Mama will talk, especially the latter. So goodbye, darling, my life, my dear, dear Lizzie, only and ever your John.
In the meantime, the Parks visit John in California.
And afterwards, Lizzie writes from Salt Lake City on May the 29th.
John, I used to love you and told you so long ago, and I meant it, but I didn't know as I do now how to love or what there was in it. When you said you loved me, I loved to hear it and it made me happy. But there was a difference, a something which I can't describe, though I heard it. I didn't hear it with my heart, as I do now.
June 9. It makes no difference if the distance is 800 or 3,000, as my love can span the one as easily as the other. My hair and whiskers all went this afternoon at barber's. My hair is 1/8 of an inch long, all my whiskers save mustache. Some think it is better, some worse. I wish I had a picture of myself to send, but I forbear. Just imagine any hairless object and you have me. June 24. I'm just back from the theater and saw The Honeymoon. And if I thought I was to have such a hard time breaking you in, I think I should not go to North Bennington in the fall. I guess I am the one Lizzie will have to break in. Only be easy, darling, is all I ask, for you know I am weak, and if you keep me so long in the chair every night giving me a good night, as you did in the evening of June 14th in Chicago, I fear you will wear me out with caresses, but I am yet willing to try even that.
July 9th. I've been thinking a matter over for some time now and have come to one decision. My foot is down strong on it. We won't have a big wedding. My idea is that there should be no one here but our own household, to be married quietly in the daytime, without white dresses, etc. I in a plain traveler's dress, and you as you please to correspond. What to do after we can talk over when you come. Mama asked Grandpa what he thought, and it pleased him, as I knew it would. When will depend on when you get here. The next day, July 10th. Only a page tonight. Grandpa Park has died. He passed away very quietly at last. On to New York tomorrow.
3 weeks later, August 4th, 1870, a letter from Lizzie's father, Trenner, to John. Dear John, I think it is possible that I shall go to Europe the last of this month. I want to take Mrs. Park, Lizzie, and you with me, and be absent perhaps 2 months. In that case, your marriage would come off sooner than has been talked of, as I am told. You could come over if I Could you come over if I telegraph you and go with us? If you cannot, and I am compelled to go, Mrs. P. will not go, and I shall have to go alone. I would not like to be absent when Lizzie is married and cannot consent to it. And still, I may be compelled to leave here at any time after August 20th. I think you could arrange your business and come on. You must recollect that you may never be married but once, and a few days more or less cannot be of much account. I have written thus freely because I cannot bear to have Lizzie married in my absence, and if I go abroad, I am satisfied it would be very pleasant for you and for her to accompany us. Very truly yours, Trenner Park. August 13th, my own darling. I have been thinking it over. It undoubtedly gets my cases all up in a heap, but your father quaintly remarks, you may only get married once. That is good, once. He asks me to telegraph, and I shall this afternoon send to North Bennington. It will say, I will come on full week's notice. Now kiss me, darling, for I must go to the office. The telegraph office, that is. I went to the tailor's and said, unless you can suit me this week, I must go without clothes that are new.
Western Union telegram from Chicago, August 27, 1871, to Trenner Park at North Bennington, Vermont.
I leave here today at 5 for Albany. J.G. McCullough. Entries from Lizzie's diary.
August 28th, Charlie went down to Albany at noon to meet John. August 29th, John arrived about 11 a.m. August 30th, busy all day. Evening at 8, John and I were married.
They sailed the following Saturday for Europe on the Cunard Line, Calabria.
There you have it, folks. Let's give another round of applause. Thank you very much for sharing this evening with us. Please follow us on our website. We have a lot more to come for the rest of the season. We have a movie premiere with a group that did a movie about women's suffrage. It was filmed here. We have concerts. We have yoga coming up on Sunday. So follow us, and I hope to see you again. We have a lot of sangria over there. I don't want to drink it myself. Make yourself at home for a little bit, and have a nice evening. Thank you.
Thank you.